When Melissa Chambers stood by the window of her two-story suburban home in Portland, Oregon, she didn't recognize herself anymore. The woman in the reflection had tired eyes, soft lines carved from years of keeping peace in a marriage that no longer felt alive. She had once believed in forever. She'd once believed that love, when nurtured, could survive anything. But lately, she wasn't sure what love even meant. Her husband, Daniel, was a software engineer who spent more hours behind his computer than he did beside her. Their conversations had shrunk into routine exchanges. Dinner's ready, I'm going to bed, did you pay the bill? Every word was practical, hollow. It wasn't that Daniel was unkind, he was just distant. Life had dulled his spark, and with it, theirs. One rainy Thursday, Melissa found herself scrolling through a local theater group's website. It was something she hadn't done in years. Acting had once been her dream, a passion she buried when she married Daniel. As she browsed, one post caught her attention. Actors for hire, private personalized performances for emotional connection, corporate training, and role-based therapy. She laughed at first. Who would hire an actor for emotional connection? But curiosity tugged at her. After 2 cups of coffee and 30 minutes of overthinking, she filled out the inquiry form and clicked send. 2 days later, she received a response. The message was polite, professional, and oddly comforting. It read, "Hi Melissa, my name is Evan. I specialize in personalized role-based sessions designed to help individuals reconnect with emotional authenticity. Our sessions are strictly professional, confidential, and therapeutic. If you'd like, we can schedule a meeting to discuss your goals." Melissa stared at the message for a long time. Something in his tone felt safe, not flirtatious, just kind. She typed back, "Yes, I'd like to meet." When she arrived at the small theater downtown the next afternoon, she almost turned around. But when she stepped inside, she saw Evan waiting near the stage lights. He was around her age, maybe late 30s, with a calm demeanor and gentle voice. "You must be Melissa," he said warmly. "I'm glad you came." Their first session was simple. Evan asked her to imagine a scene, a woman who'd forgotten what it felt like to be seen. He guided her through breathing, posture, and words she hadn't spoken aloud in years. "What do you need from life right now?" he asked quietly. "I need to feel alive again," Melissa whispered. Evan smiled softly. "Then let's start there." Week after week, Melissa returned. They acted out small scenarios, laughing at first, crying sometimes. He taught her to express emotions without shame. He never crossed any boundaries, never said anything inappropriate. But for Melissa, the connection stirred something deep, a reminder of what emotional intimacy used to feel like. One afternoon, after a particularly moving session, she went home and found Daniel still glued to his computer. "Dan, can we talk?" she asked. "Sure," he murmured, eyes not leaving the screen. She wanted to tell him how she felt, how lonely she'd become, but the words stuck. Instead, she said, "Never mind. You're busy." That night, lying in bed beside him, she realized how far apart they'd drifted. Daniel didn't even notice her tears. In the following weeks, Melissa's sessions became her lifeline. But guilt began to gnaw at her. She wasn't cheating in the physical sense, but emotionally, she knew she was hiding something. She hadn't told Daniel about Evan, about the hours she spent rediscovering herself through carefully written dialogues. Then one evening, as she walked out of the theater, Daniel's car was parked across the street. Her stomach dropped. He got out, his face unreadable. "So this is where you've been going?" he asked quietly. Melissa's voice trembled. "Daniel, it's not what you think." "Really?" he said, his voice breaking. "You've been meeting a man every week and didn't tell me. What am I supposed to think?" Tears filled her eyes. "He's an actor. It's therapy. I just needed someone to talk to." Daniel looked hurt but not angry. "Why didn't you talk to me?" Melissa's silence answered for her. That night, Daniel slept on the couch. Melissa sat awake, replaying everything in her mind. She realized that while she had sought emotional connection, she'd also shut Daniel out of any chance to rebuild. She'd built a bridge with a stranger instead of with her own husband. The next morning, Melissa drove to the theater early. When Evan arrived, she told him everything, that Daniel had seen them, that she felt ashamed. Evan listened quietly, then said something she would never forget. "Melissa, sometimes people come to me searching for connection, but what they really need is courage. The courage to face the person they've lost touch with. Maybe it's time to bring him here, not as an actor, but as your partner." It was a turning point. That evening, Melissa went home and found Daniel sitting in the kitchen, staring at his untouched coffee. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. He nodded. "I'm sorry," she began. "I never meant to hurt you. I just forgot how to reach you. And I didn't know how to tell you I was drowning." Daniel's eyes glistened. "I guess I didn't notice how far you'd gone. I've been so wrapped up in work that I forgot how to listen." They talked for hours, really talked, for the first time in years. Melissa told him about the acting sessions, the emotional exercises, the rediscovery of self. Instead of reacting with jealousy, Daniel said, if it helped you find yourself again, then maybe it wasn't all bad. The following week, Melissa invited Daniel to one of the sessions. Evan greeted them both warmly and began a simple exercise. Look at each other, he instructed. Say something you've never said before. Daniel took a deep breath. I miss us, he said. Melissa's voice broke as she replied, I do too. From that day, things slowly began to change. They started cooking together again, taking walks in the evening, learning to communicate honestly. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Months later, Evan sent Melissa an email. You did what most people can't. You chose truth over escape. That's real strength. Melissa smiled as she read it. She realized that the cheating she'd feared wasn't about another man, it was about betraying herself. She had cheated herself out of her own joy, her own purpose, until she found the courage to confront the truth. By the time autumn arrived, their home felt different. Daniel laughed more. Melissa painted again. They talked about taking a trip, something they hadn't done in years. One evening, as the sun set outside their kitchen window, Daniel reached for her hand. Thank you for not giving up on us, he said quietly. Melissa smiled, tears in her eyes. I almost did, she admitted. But sometimes, you have to lose yourself to find your way back. Their story wasn't about betrayal anymore, it was about redemption, growth, and the quiet power of forgiveness. And as Melissa watched the fading light paint their home in gold, she realized something simple yet profound: love doesn't stay alive on its own. You have to keep choosing it, every single day.